Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the final regular season edition of the Fargo Force Show. And joining me fittingly is the head coach of the Force, Cary Eades. Coach, after treading water around that 500 mark for basically the first maybe 5 months of the season or so, you guys have really turned it on in the last month or a little over a month. 11-4 since February 26, a span of 15 games, 11-4 record. And with 2 games remaining, the Force are tied for the 4th and final playoff spot in the USHL's Western Conference. It doesn't get much more exciting or much better than that.
Yeah, it is really exciting. You know, we've got 2 big games coming up here at Sioux Falls Friday night, back home Saturday night, and it's exciting times. We've really worked hard to build our team, get playing better hockey. We're playing our best hockey at the end of the season, and we've put ourselves in decent position here. You know, a couple months ago, we're in 8th place looking up at everybody, and we've been able to pass 3 teams. You know, we've got to solidify that final playoff spot here this weekend.
What has been the key to the improvement, the great play in the last little over a month or so?
A lot of little things. You know, I think, you know, our players that we have had have improved themselves and worked hard to improve little things in their game. We've made some nice additions. Jerry Asterin has really helped us on the back end. Tommy Muck has given us another offensive-type defenseman. Just guys doing their own jobs, different pieces of the puzzles fitting together. And, you know, because of that, we've been able to go on quite a roll here.
And the belief has been always there with the guys, too. I mean, that's one of the things, too. You tread water for so long, but the belief has never wavered, or has it even maybe grown as this season has kind of wound down the last couple of months?
Yeah, you know, our guys have quiet confidence. I mean, you know, they know how tough the league is and respectful of opponents. And when we do take a foot off the gas pedal, it ends up usually being a loss. So, you know, it's a tough league. It's got a lot of great players in it, great coaches, great challenges. So, you know, we've understood how tough it is to win in the league, how to build a win, you know, within a game. You can't take a period off and get behind the 8 ball. So a lot of little things have gone into some recent success.
All right, well, we're going to talk a lot about these final last 2 games for the Force, including playoff scenarios and all that in just a minute. But before we do, let's get caught up on how the Force have fared in the last 5 games. Since our last show, they're going 3-2. It started Friday, March 25th versus the Omaha Lancers. 1-0 Force in the second. When Omaha ties it, Patrick Harper slides it in, 1-1 as we'd head to the final period. Omaha then scored the first 2 goals of the third, but Fargo answered. Blake Lazat spot-on pass to Riley Tufte for his second goal of the game. Force down 3-2 at that point, but that's as close as they got. Lancers add a late one and win this one 4-2. The difference in this one was the power play. Omaha converted its only 2 chances, while Fargo cashed in on just 1 of 7 opportunities. Same 2 teams back at it the next night at Shields Arena on the 26th. First period, Dennis Smirnov scores off the rebound on the shot from Blake Lazat. 1-0 Force with the lead after 1 period. Second period now, it's that guy again, Smirnov. What a season he's had. Wires home the wrister, as you'll see on the replay. A nice goalie screen by teammate Grant Meyer on this one right there. 2-0 Force through 2. There's the Smirnov goal. Watch the screen by Meyer, running that interference there, and he gets it in. Meanwhile, on the defensive end, Ryan Wishow was doing yeoman's work in net. Stopped all 32 shots that came his way. Wishow gets his 5th shutout of the season. The Force add an empty netter late to win it 3-0 for the shutout. The 5th shutout by Wishow, tied for the most in the USHL this season. The next weekend, April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the Force were on the road for 3. It started April Fool's Day against first place Tri-City. Early on, Hugo Reinhardt brings home the second chance opportunity, and it's 1-0 Force. Same period, Tri-City answers. Carson Meyer in front puts it in. 1-1 after 1. It went to overtime, tied at 3, where the Force would win it on a Jerry Asterin goal, 3:15 into OT. That guy comes up big seemingly all the time in overtime, coach, several times this year. 4-3 in overtime, the Force win it. Smirnov with his 27th, Wishow with 32 saves again, and the Force once again good on the power play, 2 of 4. So the next night, Saturday, first period, the Force can't clear the puck, and it costs them. Dan Lebowski gives Tri-City an early 1-0 lead. Blake Lazat then ties the game at 1 in period 2 for the Force, but 4-1, Lazat with the only goal. The Force 0 of 5 on the power play. The penalty kill, though, good, as Tri-City was 0 of 4 as well. So then Sunday, April 3rd, the matinee, Force took on last place Sioux City, and they did what you need to do against a team that has nothing to play for. Force jumped on the Musketeers early. Smirnov again scores his 28th of the season, makes it 2-1 Force. Later on, it's Hank Crone with the rebound goal. 3-1 Force after 1, and the Force go on to win it 4-1. Crone added another late. Riley Tufte also scored. As we mentioned, Smirnov with his 28th goal, 59 points now. That's 19 better than he finished with last year. We led the team with 40, so 59. What a season Smirnov's had. The Force 2 of 3 on the power play. So with the 3-2 record in the last 5, let's get you caught up on the standings in the USHL's Western Conference. With just 2 games remaining, look at that. The Force and Sioux Falls tied for the 4th and final playoff spot with 64 points. What a thrilling finish it's been. And, Coach, the schedule makers really couldn't have planned it any better or with any more drama, because look who the Force plays for their final 2 games of the season. It is the Sioux Falls Stampede, ironically. Friday, April 8th, the Force are at Sioux Falls. And then Saturday, April 9th, final game of the regular season, fan appreciation night at Sioux Falls at Shields Arena against the Sioux Falls Stampede. Here's the playoff scenario, Coach. With 2 wins, the Force make the playoff. That'll get you 4 points. Or you guys also get in with a win and an overtime loss with 3 points. Sioux Falls, because they have that tiebreaker over you guys with a 4-2 head-to-head record this year, all they need to do is win one of these next 2 games in regulation. If you get it to overtime, then you're doing well. So, Coach, thoughts on that? I mean, it doesn't get much more exciting, especially the first few months of the season. It's in your hands. I mean, that's all you could really ask for.
It really is, Trev. And that's what you ask for in sports. And we talk to our guys, and we have been for 2 or 3 months, about taking control of our own destiny. We haven't been able to do that. It's going to be a daunting task. We understand that, but nothing's easy in the USHL. But we don't have to be scoreboard watching other than the scoreboard that's right in front of us. We got to take care of our own business. And, one of the things that we haven't mentioned is both Sioux Falls and ourselves were fighting for that 4th and final spot. But actually, if Lincoln and Waterloo get swept this weekend and one of us sweeps, we could actually move all the way up into 2nd place, which is pretty crazy. And
that's about as exciting as it gets. And one of the more crazier playoff scenarios down to the last few games of the season that we've had in a long time. All right, let's talk about Sioux Falls and look at how you guys fared against the Stampede head-to-head this year. We played them 6 times this year. 2-4 record for the Force versus Sioux Falls. 0-3 in Sioux Falls. Back in October 9th, you guys won in Fargo, then lost at Sioux Falls, then you won. They've gotten you guys the last 3 games in a row in Fargo and 2 of them at Sioux Falls. But look at, Coach, 4 of those 6 games decided by just 1 goal. So basically every game versus Sioux Falls, very tight this year. As you said, it's going to be a daunting task, but 1-goal games close. I mean, what are your thoughts on it when you look at that?
Yeah, I mean, we actually haven't played them for a while. It's been almost 2 months, so some things have changed a little bit with both squads. It's going to be fun to get back and playing them. They've had a heck of a run. We're 11-4 our last 15. Their record's very similar in the last 15, 16 games. So, we've got to play our game, Fargo Force hockey. Just really play stingy defense in your face hockey and make it hard to play against. And we've been playing really well lately. We just have to do the things that we need to do and not worry about them.
What is the biggest key against Sioux Falls? I mean, what's the one thing that maybe they make it tough on you guys, or the one thing that is just going to be the key in your mind to be able to have success against them this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to tip our hat too much about this. They've got a great team. They've got guys that really know how to win. They've got some guys that are returning from the championship team last year. So, they've got some experience back there. Or our guys, we've fit some different pieces of the puzzle together, as we mentioned, and we've learned how to win. And it's going to be 2 teams that have been playing really good hockey lately, that are very hungry for the playoffs and feel they're deserving, and only one's going to come out of it. So, may the best team win.
As Coach said, the Force have not made the playoffs the last 2 years, so very hungry. Coach, talk about the irony of not only playing the team that you're tied with for these last 2 games, but also your former team that you won the championship with last year. I mean, just a couple of very ironic developments there, and adds more to the drama, I guess.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, I think the schedule maker, kind of hit a lucky chord here at the end of the season by having both games, Fargo, Sioux Falls. We're natural rivalries anyway, on the I-29 corridor. We play them 8 times during the season, one of our schedule rivalries. So, to have it really come down to something is going to be exciting. I know that ticket sales are going very well at both buildings. There's a lot of excitement with the hockey fans in both buildings, in both cities. So, really a final weekend that's kind of like a playoff series, obviously. Winner gets in, loser goes home.
Before we wrap up the show, I want to talk real quick about a couple of guys, individual-wise, for you guys that have fared very well this year. Talk about the play of Ryan Wishow. You told me that if there was maybe one guy that was a pleasant surprise this year, maybe that has exceeded expectations, it would be him. He's been just solid in goal all year, one of the top guys in the net in the whole USHL.
Yeah, and you can't win without goaltending. In fact, somebody was joking the other day they should nickname hockey goalie because of how important that position is, just much like pitching in baseball. And, we've got to give them some run support. That's one of the things, if you take a look at the Sioux Falls losses, only give them 1 or 2 goals. It, puts a lot of pressure on it. But, we've been winning a lot of 1-0, 2-0, 3-2 games here with our stretch. We've been playing a lot of playoff hockey, so we've been in a lot of clutch situations in the third period where we've had to perform, we've had to play a certain way to protect leads, and we can hopefully use that experience. But getting a lead and building on it is the real challenge. So we just got to continue to concentrate on those 3, 4, 5 things that we do well individually and collectively hope it's enough.
And you mentioned some of these new guys that you brought in over the past several months have made big impacts. But one of the guys that's been a stalwart all season long and especially elevated his game in the last couple of months is Dennis Smirnov. We saw him earlier in some of the highlights. Just really upped his game this year from last year where he led the team. Talk about his impact and how key he's been down the stretch for you guys as well.
Yeah, Dennis has been a real key player for us all year, and he's much more than just a scorer. I know he's in the top 4 in the league in the USHL, which is really a statement to how many excellent players there are. But, he's probably one of the best penalty killers in the league. He's a physical force for a guy that's kind of medium-sized, and, brings it every night. He's a very difficult player because he contributes in so many ways. So, he's a key player for us. We have others in Lizotte and go down the list, as well as the Parker Toomeys and different players for them that are key players. So, you've got to have contributions from your key guys, but you also have to have your support players play very well and not have any weak links in the chain.
Now, lastly, we saw that you guys are 0-3 in Sioux Falls this year, but you hadn't played them since February 20th. You got a lot of new guys maybe that haven't even played that game or weren't here in that game. Does that help in a situation like this, where you have maybe the guys that are a little naive or a little, maybe, hey, we weren't here when that happens. That's not going to affect us heading into this game where we might have to win. We got to win this one at least on Friday.
Yeah, I would think that if we hadn't had so much success on the road this year, that it might be a little bit more of a concern. But actually, we have more wins on the road than we do at home, and we are 11-3 our last 14 home games. So, we just won in Tri-City. We've won in Lincoln. We've won in all the tough places. Now it's time to win in Sioux Falls, and we have to do it Friday night, or our season's going to be over. All
right, that's about as good as I could have said it right there. Coach Eades, thanks for being here this week. Best of luck this weekend. Hope the Force make the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Fargo Force Show. Have a great day, everybody.